story of this whole area really is that Bill Bouncel owned our property, owned that next piece, which is the Kickin property now, and owned Diamond Creek. In '85, he was selling the property and never harvested grapes, and the guy who was a winemaker for Diamond Creek at that point actually picked the grapes and made a kind of a home bottling of a couple of barrels off of it. So these old vines have such an incredible root system and have taken over the soil to such an extent that inner planting, like I did, is useless. Technology wasn't there for narrower spacing. Nowadays we have better equipment. I have a little tractor that can go down the 6-foot row. Everything that I'm planting new, including the sisters, is at a 6x6 spacing. You know, our whole property is about 3 tons an acre, which I'm pretty happy with. I feel that too small a crop is definitely not good. I think the important thing in cropping vines in California especially is a balance between the amount of vigor a vine has and the amount of crop you leave on the vine. I'm a fan of Cabernet on its own. I think Merlot and Cabernet Franc take away from the Sauvignon character. And we spend an awful lot of time working on our tannins here. That's really the main style of our wine is what I call tannin management. We spend a lot of time tasting and chewing, you know, spitting out the middle of the grapes and chewing the skins and tasting the tannins to see if they're ripe. Actually, every year I do tannin profiles on my wine to try to build up some kind of a repertoire, some kind of a history. But it's a flavor issue. This valley is a very low point in the Mayacamas mountain range. A cool breeze every afternoon ends up coming right down this valley. And although it does hit other parts of Napa also, it's a very particular influence to this viticultural area. And it comes right through here because it's a low point in the Mayacamas Mountains. People always plant on the outside of the terrace because if you think about it, that's where the original soil line was on the hillside. This is original topsoil, that's been cut. But there's been so much sloughing throughout the years that we ended up planting, and there's so much room in here that we planted a row on the inside of the terrace. Here's a bud. We would take a bud from here and put it into the rootstock, which is this down there, and that's what grew up. So it's the same parentage, and there's really no reason it should be much different. The quality is quite similar. We drain by flavor, by tasting the tannins and deciding when the maceration has gotten to a point where we like. And we, at that point, we'll open the bottom drain out all of the liquid, the free run, and we'll let it drain for 24 hours. Just let it drip, drip, drip into the porter tank for 24 hours. And when we come back, the cap is very dry. And if I combine my original free run with the draining wine, I actually get the same amount of wine that most people get through their light pressings, but I've never touched the skins. And that's my free run, that's the von Strasser fraction. And that tastes exactly like what I tasted in the tank. I mean, there's absolutely no difference between the day I decide to press and what I get after the press, which is really nice. The 90's nice, isn't it?
Isn't that nice? That's your first one?
It's our first one, and I actually think as nice as it is, it's at a funny stage now. It's just showing a little bit of older wine character. Our wines, you'll see in the young wines, tend to have a strong kind of cassis, very fruity, very young, lively character. And the 90 is just at a point now where it's starting to lose that. It's starting to get some of the, I call it velvety or dusty, older, mature wine characters. Something similar that I see in all these wines is the mouthfeel, and they're very full wines, they're very rich, they feel like a huge wine, but yet you can drink it. And even at noon without any lunch and food, it's not a wine that makes your mouth suffer. And I think a wine can be big and approachable at the same time. A lot of people are trying to make wines that are soft and not giving it enough character. I think that it's important to have a wine that has a lot of weight and a lot of oomph, but yet you need to be able to like it.